What's going on, folks? We are back from break. And after the first couple episodes of Noir showed, I kept seeing all of these messages. Where's LaSorte? Where's LaSorte? We miss LaSorte. Bring back LaSorte. Nobody really even likes LaSorte like that who knows him in real life. So, but nonetheless, I felt bad for the guy, you know what I'm saying? So I figured, let's give him a little bit more time to shine. And we brought him back on for the Noir Shooting Challenge. So joining me live is the man himself, Mr. Colion LaSorte.
You have me laughing today. I mean, somebody told me you're in a bad mood this morning, and you don't seem to be in a bad mood. So something changed between the morning and now. But
sad clown.
Oh, man. Hey, good interview with Rob. He's one of my favorite guys on the planet. He was kind of modest when he says that he might make art with, when it comes to making guns. No, he makes art and fine art.
I'm sorry. I'm totally and unbelievably distracted by this massive animal that you have in the background staring at me.
Oh, that's my doll sheep from Alaska.
Did you name him?
No. Somebody else in my office did, but so it's kind of cool, working in a place where you can have a full body mount doll sheep in your office. And a lot of people wonder why I might have an animal in my office, or why I'm not going to say mount animals, how I have stuffed animals, taxidermied animals. And the reason is because that was one of the greatest days of my life. Hauling that thing off the mountain, 22 hours, being away in the most rural area of the world, and it was beautiful. So anyway, if anybody's wondering why I have it, that's why I have it.
I think it looks cool. It's very imposing.
It is, and it's keeping an eye on me. But anyway, get back to Rob. So Rob, he's one of my favorite people, no doubt about it. Know him very well, honored to know him. But he is modest.
Very much so.
That his guns are art.
Yeah.
I mean, the finish, the hand polishing that goes in 50, 60 hours, if not more.
I remember shooting the Black Diamond, the Black Ice. I can't remember because Jesse James started calling me Black Ice, so I get him confused now. But I think it was the Black Diamond. Yeah. And and even then he was like, "That's the entry level version,
right?"
That I shot. And I remember being blown away just by the sheer quality and how smooth it was. And that's the entry level. So
So now he has a newer entry level gun that might be affordable for guys like us. But do you remember? I think I just laughed hysterically. I mean, we had it on Noir, so we had the white gloves on. You did your Michael Jackson moonwalk or whatever.
Thriller.
Yeah, Thriller. It was just a fun day, and Edgar, you and I had the exact same reaction. There was something unique about how that gun operated, how it fed the new round, how the slide worked. It was on ball bearings. So it was a little bit of a religious experience. Never had it. I probably shot a couple of million rounds in my life, without exaggeration. Never once have I had an experience like that. So anybody who can afford a Cabot needs to own one.
Absolutely.
I dream of owning one day. And my friend just this week, since you mentioned it, had to text me probably 2 days ago, lives in Pennsylvania, and texted me his picture of his new American Joe that he just bought at his local gun shop. So,
I couldn't even begin to think of if I could just pick one gun that I could have. I couldn't even begin to pick maybe one of the Damascus guns that he makes, but I really have a hard time just because they are really that exceptional. Speaking of guns, I want to let's talk about some of the merits that come into play with using an AR. From we tend to go back and forth when we have some of our little personal conversations about our preferences in terms of our home defense setups and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on AR? I've gotten a question about that too. Whether or not I use an AR for home defense. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is one of my favorite subjects. As one of our mutual friends knows, I will go on a rant about this all the time. You and I have discussed it. But, just constantly evolving the thought about an AR for home defense. To me, it is undeniably the most effective tool for that job. Now, Kyle Lamb, actually, so doing research on this, Kyle Lamb has an article in American Rifleman. So if you basically, I think that the title is the AR for home defense, one expert's opinion. I implore everyone to read that article. It's online, easy to find. Kyle Lamb, home defense AR. Do the Google search, you'll find it. But really, we've talked about this. You and I agree that if you have somebody kick your front door in the middle of the night, which I actually thought happened a couple of weeks ago, but what did I have in my hand? The Glock 19. Just got to be honest here.
Instinctively, it happens. It happens for me. My mind wants to go to handgun first.
Right, and it, absolutely, because we carry it every day of our lives. It is our defensive tool, and even though I will preach the AR-15 for home defense, what did I have in my hand when I thought somebody kicked my door in the other night? I had a Glock 19. And what happened, actually, which is funny, is a mount came off the wall in my place. So it's kind of funny that you point out the sheep in the background, because what that noise was in the middle of the night was
one of your sheep falling off the
wall. Huh?
One of your was it a sheep that fell off the wall?
It's a sheep. It's called an aoudad. It's a free range sheep in Texas in the Davis Mountains, and yeah, that came off the wall, and that's what made the crashing sound. So, but what the only thing I had on me or around me was my Glock 19, if you know what I'm saying. So maybe too much information, but that's what I had. So now, if somebody is kicking your door in the middle of the night, though, if you had your choice, you would always want the unfair advantage, because the guy kicking the door in Dallas downtown, the bad guys are probably gonna have handguns. I want to have that dramatic advantage over him, make it an unfair fight, and what does that best in AR? So I went through that article again that Kyle Lamb wrote. If people don't know who Kyle Lamb is, he spent 20 years in Army Special Operations doing some of the most dangerous, high-risk missions on the planet. I would argue, so we always hear the antis say there's no real purpose for the AR-15 except for evil. No, it's actually extremely effective, and everybody who's used one overseas knows it, and every one of those guys, I know a bunch of them, use that gun for their own home defense, because that's what they used over there in the same sort of environment that is their house, in very close quarters.
If anything, it's their laws that are preventing my ability to use it as effective as I want to. Well, to a degree, just because I have an SBR, I have a 300 black SBR sitting right next to my bed alongside of my handgun, and I don't ever feel any more confident. I never feel more confident than when I have a rifle in my hand, and I don't mean that in terms of life in general, but knowing I'm going to have to deal with the situation. Like if you created a scenario for me and were like, all right, look, you're going to have to walk through this desolate city. There are ghosts in the city, right? And what would you take with you? I would still take an AR. And we're talking about Ghost. So there's just, and I've always espoused the importance of having confidence, like your gun inspiring confidence in your ability to use it to protect yourself. And nothing does that more for me than my AR.
Right.
I just feel better knowing it's there, because I know I can probably deal with just about any situation that I may face with that AR.
Well, it's good that you think that, because I know it to be true, because I've actually seen you lose it trying to shoot zombies with a handgun. That's what I was cracking up about, is Noir season 3, maybe.
In case people are wondering, because they probably have a couple of people who are like, wait, shooting zombies, they take that stuff seriously? Yeah. Still, there was an episode we did on Noir where we mimicked the zombie apocalypse, and Darren and I competed against each other to see who would survive the zombie apocalypse, and Darren left me for dead. As always is the case, a black guy is the first to go, living up to all stereotypes. Thanks, Darren LaSorte.
Well, I mean, I laughed hysterically on that show, because I went first, and we had a friend acting as a zombie, and it worked out great, but it really gave us some serious response, some sort of crazy response was there. I felt it, and then I saw you get up there, and I saw you missing shots that you'd make blindfolded asleep on the other day that you were missing, because I knew what you were feeling.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh hysterically. That was one of my favorite moments in all of the Noir filming that we did, is the zombie apocalypse episode, because I knew that you lost it. And you would have done better with a rifle, so you're right that you should have had a rifle in your hands.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, what I want to talk to you about is this hunt that you and I are supposed to be going on. I want to kind of talk about what rifle I should bring, what should I expect, because I'm not much of a hunter, so you are going to serve as kind of be breaking, not necessarily popping my hunting cherry, but, so when we come back, we'll talk about that.
2 more minutes. I want 2 minutes, though, to talk more about the AR for self-defense without interruption, maybe a minute and a half.
Fair enough. We'll be back with the Darren LaSorte Show. All right, and we're back, and joining us live is the man himself, Darren LaSorte. And before we left, he decided to turn it into Darren LaSorte Live. And no, I'm playing. But no, we left off discussing about the merits of an AR for home defense. And so you wanted to make a couple of other points.
A couple, right? I wanted my own show. But I just want to go through this because I did read the Kyle Lamb article recently, and so took some notes. But he points out that it's very easy to shoot the AR. If you take two new shooters to the range, one with a handgun, one with a rifle, the person with the rifle is always going to shoot better than the person with the handgun.
Absolutely.
Men and women both shoot it better. If it's light enough, which is key. It's amazingly versatile. From basically contact distances 300 yards, that rifle works great. Now, are you going to have defensive scenarios that far out? Probably not. But why not have that additional capability that a handgun does not have?
Well, hold on, though. I mean, then again, depending on where you live, you might.
Correct. If you're living in a farm and things go bad, something like that, you very well could have a situation like that.
You might have a hard time justifying that shoot in court, but
that prosecutor might have some issues with you.
Yeah.
But you know what? So he talks about semi-auto shotguns. One thing I hate more than anything else to hear about people when they talk about self-defense and shotguns, all you have to do is you point in the general area and the problem goes away. Basically, shooting a shotgun, as you know, in house ranges is like shooting a rifle.
Yeah.
That pattern on buckshot does not open up more than a couple of inches.
Yeah.
And so people have to understand that they have to aim shotguns just as well as they do rifles or pistols.
My thing about the shotgun, I just want to jump on your soapbox real quick. This whole notion of racking the slide. No. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. Like I'm not going to rack it. Someone's going to hear it and they're going to take off running because they heard me racking my shotgun. Maybe they'll run after hearing the sound of my gun going off.
Yeah.
But racking the shotgun, I'm sorry. I'm not a believer of it. I know I'm in the minority in that position, but I'm sticking to it.
Now, I had a girlfriend who lived in an undisclosed location. Because
are you about to prove me wrong?
Well, I'm not going to prove you wrong, but I'm
because I'll shut this down right now.
Yeah. So my girlfriend lived in a place where she really couldn't have the gun that she had. And so it was an 870 shotgun. And she did have somebody who was in her house, in an apartment in a very urban environment. And she racked the shotgun and the problem went away. So that was one case where it worked.
All right, shut it down.
Shut him down.
No. Okay. All right. Call me.
Okay.
Consider me corrected.
But Kyle Lamb did not talk about that. What Kyle Lamb did talk about is that semi-auto shotguns aren't as reliable, especially if you have to shoot from less than perfect positions where the shotgun's not perfectly shouldered and the recoil is managed, all that. He talked about shooting a shotgun one-handed is very tough. Shooting an AR is very easy one-handed, and you might be holding a kid or you might be pushing a door closed or whatever.
Yeah.
The other thing he talks about with shotguns versus rifles is magazine capacity. There just aren't a lot of 10-round shotguns, even in places where there is a magazine limit rifle. But having a 30 or 40-round magazine in your rifle, of course, you might not need that many rounds, but I don't want Hillary Clinton telling me that I only need 10 in my fight if it ever does come. So
absolutely.
Ammunition is always better, right?
Yeah.
And so, all right, a couple of other issues. Stopping power. People talk about the 5.56 not being great stopper. You know what? There are tens of thousands of terrorists overseas who aren't here to contest that. So, he makes that point.
Would you just always go to 300 blackout?
Maybe. That's not a bad round. Pistols point faster, people say. Well, not really. If you have a rifle and low ready, you can get shots on target in less than a second after you decide a threat needs to be dealt with. So really not true as far as pistols being faster than rifles. You can certainly miss faster with a pistol. No recoil, mentioned that. He says people talk about ARs being loud. Put a suppressor on. 42 states allow suppressor possession. So that's one alternative, but all guns are loud. Shotguns certainly are in house environments. You definitely want to
you're right. However, considering the process by which one needs to go through to get a suppressor, in the meantime, if I'm running a 10-inch SBR and 5.56, that thing is going to be devastatingly loud.
Right, for sure.
So I would provide that one caveat. I am. That's why right now I wouldn't necessarily look to go to my rifle off the top, just because I know how loud it will be, and I'm still waiting on my suppressors to come through. So, but once the suppressor comes on, that's game changing. That completely turns my whole situation around. And I definitely would favor the AR in that sense.
And good point. And one reason why suppressors are so beautiful. I mean, there are many reasons suppressors are beautiful, including the fact that they're really cool. But they also save your hearing in self-defense scenarios. So, the last point I'll make, because there are many others, but the last point I'll make is people talk about overpenetration of the 5.56. That is the one thing that you'll hear on all the blogs. Well, it just overpenetrates. Actually, as Kyle Lamb points out in the article, the FBI and many other departments have done lots of investigation on this, and actually the 5.56 has fewer overpenetration issues through walls and that sort of stuff that are in a house than pistols and shotguns.
Why do you think that was the case?
I think just the lighter bullet, smaller bullet
Gotcha.
is generally it. You don't have that mass carrying through.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to states like Iowa and Illinois that have shotgun-only rules for deer hunting. Maybe this is a nice transition into the hunting stuff that you wanted to talk about.
Oh.
But, one of the common assumptions in those two states is that muzzle loaders and shotguns shooting slugs are safer for deer hunting than centerfire rifles because they don't ricochet off the ground and go as far and all that. Actually, the Picatinny Arsenal did a study out in New York, and actually muzzleloader bullets and shotgun slugs actually do carry farther in those hunting scenarios than centerfire rifle bullets. So they pose arguably more of a danger, although they virtually never pose a danger.
Yeah.
So you have two states that have laws oriented around this misinformation. But the same misinformation keeps people from using ARs for home defense. I would really, really argue that everyone should at least take a look at this article and make the decision themselves and investigate it a little bit more, because if you do have that problem come in the middle of the night, you want to have the unfair advantage, and that unfair advantage is an AR-15. Hillary Clinton certainly wants to take that advantage from all of us, but it's one that we have access to today, and we should utilize it to the extent that we can. Even me. I'll stop being a hypocrite. We'll start grabbing my AR instead of my Glock 19 when I think somebody kicks my door in. So, hunting. Well, one other thing I want to say is since this is my show, is that Rob talked about, you and Rob talked about dying in certain ways, and shooting the meteorite gun would be a good way to go. I wouldn't disagree with that. I'll tell you a bad way to go. Almost caused me to go the other day is in my parking garage. Kind of deaf already anyway, right? Because we didn't have suppressors until recently, maybe. Is that I was walking across the parking garage, and you know what? I didn't realize how much I rely on my ears to actually tell me whether a car is coming when I'm walking across. And it was a damn killer Prius. Killer Prius. Wonk, 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 coming back toward me. And I almost got run over by a Prius. That is the number one worst way to die in America as far as I'm concerned, getting killed.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I ever heard that you got ran over by a Prius, for about the first 2 to 3 minutes, I will laugh hysterically, and then I'll cry. Okay. But yeah, you getting killed by a Prius, wow.
But hey, we want to really save lives. I mean, it's like, hey, the Prius is a dangerous thing, and
but it is though, because you can't hear it.
Everybody who drives a Prius probably wants to take our guns. That's what I'm saying. And my guns never came close to hurting any Prius drivers. I know that for sure.
That was not stereotyping at all.
No,
not at all. Not even in the slightest.
Come on. You've seen some Prius drivers.
I've actually been to a shooting course where one of the guys showed up in a Prius.
You shouldn't have let him participate.
Really?
Anyway,
we're gonna guard discriminate now. We got about a minute left, so
okay. So we're gonna talk about your hunt real quickly.
All right.
So again, since this is my show, we're gonna take you hunting as one of my guests, and we're gonna have you kill a deer, and we're gonna have you field dress that deer. I'm gonna watch you pass out. I'll finish field dressing your deer after you pass out, because I know you will. And then we're gonna bring it home, and we're gonna show you how to cook. Actually, do you know what cooking is? I don't think you do, but we're going to use your kitchen for the first time.
That sad thing is, no, I don't. I don't cook. I don't.
You will soon. After you field dress your deer, pass out.
What makes you think I'm going to actually pass out?
Because you told me you are.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's only human blood that makes me go.
We'll see.
And when it's my own blood, I should be fine. I should be fine. No, man.
Can't wait to see.
But yeah, I can't either, right? But no, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you once again for always brightening up my lovely day, Darren LaSorte. Thank you for taking over my show. I love it.
Thanks for being on DL Live.
Man, get off of my show, man. I'm Colion Noir. That was Darren LaSorte. And we will see you tomorrow with another episode of See 'em Live.